when to use motivation, when to use inspiration. Why not start a business when you're 19? One of the things that's made me incredibly successful in leading teams and creating inspiration, I'm going to be an entrepreneur probably for the rest of my life. But if you want to act like children, I'm going to treat you like children. Ready to dive in? Let's go. Hey everybody, I'd like to welcome you back to another episode of the Brick of the Week. So if you've missed any of our previous episodes, you can find them in my profile. And I am super excited to jump into today's episode because it's all about the difference between motivation, which is happening right now. You're watching me, you're listening, you can even feel the energy, versus inspiration. And both serve their parts in leadership, but there's definitely a difference when to use motivation, when to use inspiration. I'm going to talk to you about those two differences today. So if you're fired up to be here, just drop a quick comment in the chat below. Love to see some activity. We're all about taking action at the House of Bricks, and just something simple as saying, I'm excited to be here, actually starts to create some momentum for you and momentum for me. I'm a human. I like positive feedback. I like momentum. So ready to dive in? Let's go. So first, we're going to talk about motivation. So as you know, I've been an entrepreneur for a long time. I'm almost tired of saying it. I'm going to be an entrepreneur probably for the rest of my life. But when I was early on as a leader, I used motivation, both positive motivation and negative motivation. I'm going to start with a story in my first business. So I was 21, making over $1 million. Like any 21-year-old, that can get to your head at times. And so I had two salespeople that were consistently late to sales meetings. And so kind of ruling with the iron fist, I said, you know what, guys, if you want to act like children, I'm going to treat you like children. And I had the golden handcuffs at the time. They were making, well over six figures. And this was their first sales job. So I sent them out into the hall and I made them sit and face the wall. Okay. So that's an example of negative motivation, but it fired them up in a way like, hey, I don't want to be treated like that. And so I can promise you they will never be late to another sales meeting. But the point of me telling you that is that you have to know when to use what tools as a leader that's going to motivate your team in the right way. So I've obviously evolved a lot over time in my leadership style, but wanted to show you even the best leaders can make mistakes. So to lead effectively, it's really important to understand the difference between inspiration and motivation. And motivation is really a temporary thing. So you can run sales contests, you can micromanage your team, you can set goals, and that will motivate them for a period of time, but eventually that candle will burn out. And great leaders are really the ones that can influence and inspire people, and then they feel an attachment to the overall vision of where the company is going. So you're saying to yourself, Adam, how am I going to do that? Well, it's a great question. And one of the things that's made me incredibly successful in leading teams and creating inspirations, because think about it, when you're starting a business, why would someone come and work for you? They know you don't have any money. They know it probably won't work out. They could just go take a job at IBM. I remember my mobile tech company, my developers could have gone and worked at Apple or Google. Why would they come work for Adam House, a guy with no tech background who's starting a mobile web company? It's because they believed in my vision, and I was able to inspire them by getting their ideas to fit into the overall vision of the company. So that's what I call bottom-up buy-in, where a lot of leaders, especially me early on in my career, the example that I gave you, I was going top down. It was my way, the highway, and it worked for a period of time, but I did burn out salespeople. I burned out my staff. As I evolved as a leader, I was able to accomplish greater things by getting that bottom-up buy-in. So we talked about your inspiration. And one of the things that I've noticed in this generation is a lot of people are always looking for their why. Oh, Adam, what's my why? And looking for this kumbaya moment. Like very rarely is there that intersection of where your passion actually puts food on the table. So I lived my life in saying to myself, why not? Right? Why not start a business when you're 19? Why not drop out of college? Why not start a mobile tech company with no tech background? Why not start a healthcare analytics business with no healthcare background? Why not play professional basketball at 32 years old as a 6-foot white guy? Why not do that? Makes so much sense, right? Well, the more you live in that why not, the more things that you're going to test and learn and grow. So I've spent my whole life, or at least my entrepreneurial life, growing because I'm testing, I'm failing, and continuing to make progress. And that's what helps me achieve my goals. So try to make that mind shift for yourself, and then you will be able to walk with that mindset, and then that will be infectious to the rest of your team. And so one of the things I always tell people is you cannot give what you don't have. And if you don't have self-government and self-leadership and self-inspiration, it's impossible for you as a leader to truly inspire the people around you. So what are some practical ways for you to inspire yourself? Again, it's taking action. Don't look for an epiphany moment that's going to lead to your success. It's just little amounts of progress every day over a long period of time. That will give you the feedback that you need to achieve your goals. So breaking it up into small milestones that are achievable. One of the things that I was going to talk to you about today is you think about even when you go to the gym, right? How often are you going? Why do you go to the gym? And there's a big push of people talking about ice baths and saunas. Well, I can promise you, I never sat in an ice bath and I still made millions of dollars. And all these people that are telling you to do this, they were broke. They didn't have time to go do ice baths and saunas and all that. So they've developed these routines over time. So don't spend all of your time focused on what your morning routine is to create inspiration. Just find anything that you can be consistent with that will give you the confidence that will carry over in the rest of your life. So don't get caught up in, this guy does this and that. Find something, stick to it, be consistent, and then that consistency will build confidence in you that will help you instill confidence in your team and create inspiration. So an important thing that's going to help you stay inspired is understanding that your feelings are not facts. Okay. And now I'm telling you this, it applies in business only, because I did say this once to my wife, and I promise you, if you say that, get ready to duck. Okay. Because in a marriage and relationships, their feelings are facts and they truly believe that. But in business and how I govern my life, you cannot be tossed to and fro in the up and down and only do things when you want to do them. You have to do them when you don't want to do them, right? And the last thing I wanted to talk to you about today is the importance of not looking for a shortcut. Everyone is looking for a hack. I'm new on social media or just kind of getting back on it. Every reel I see is someone's gimmick of how to get a 7 or 8 figure coaching business or how to trade Bitcoin or whatever. There is a direct correlation between the degree of difficulty and the value that you will get it from. So if I gave you $1 million, yes, you would have a short-term experience with $1 million, but you didn't do what it took to earn it. So the odds are you're going to lose it, right? Look at people that win the lottery, they end up bankrupt. There's a direct correlation between the degree of difficulty and the degree of value that you will receive. And so I want to encourage you today to embrace the difficult things, because the more difficult it is, the greater value that you will receive on the end. And that's really where I get my inspiration, is on the journey of climbing the mountain. In fact, scientifically, you release more endorphins climbing the mountain than you do when you reach the top. It's the same thing in business. So be inspired and know when to use motivation. Again, in short bursts, run a sales contest, get your team pumped up, absolutely works. But where you get long-term sustainable change is through inspiration. Start with yourself, keep your commitments, be inspired by the challenge. And the last thing I'm going to ask you, first of all, is have a happy holidays. And secondly, if you enjoyed this episode, I'd ask that you please share it with your network. I'm putting a lot of work in here, and I'm inspired by seeing the change in you personally. Those of you that direct message me, people that subscribe to my newsletter, that really motivates and inspires me to continue doing what I'm doing. So thank you for watching this episode of the Brick of the Week, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. Keep building.